Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I hope that you guys are all having an amazing day. So for today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you my top 10 must-have face primers for oily, very oily, or combination skin. So if you are new to my channel, my skin type is very, very oily. There is not really too much normal or dry or any of that on my skin. I'm pretty much oily all the way around. And I recently uploaded a top 5 favorite drugstore foundations from the drugstore, obviously, for oily skin. And in that video, I asked you guys if you would like to also see a primers video. And a lot of you guys said that you would love to see what primers I use to help control oil on my skin. So that is the video that I'm filming for you guys today. If you are new to my channel and this is the first video that you are hanging out with me for, thank you so much for stopping by and checking out this video. I hope that you enjoy it and do find it helpful. And also make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to my channel so that you can become part of my fam here on YouTube. And you'll also be the first to know anytime that I upload a video in the future. So I don't want to spend too long on this intro, so if you would like to see what my top 10 primers are for oily skin, then please keep watching. Okay, so let's go ahead and just jump right in. I actually have 11 primers that I want to share with you guys. I wanted to kind of try to keep it down to 10, but all of these are really, really great primers, and I couldn't pick one to cut out, so I decided to just share them all with you, and I figured you guys wouldn't mind. So I split these up into 2 categories. One category is primers that I use to blur and smooth out and fill in my pores, and then the other category is primers that I actually use to control oil on my skin. If you've been following my channel for a while, you probably have realized in pretty much every makeup tutorial, I always use 2, if not more, primers, and all of the primers serve a different purpose, but I always use one primer to smooth and blur out my skin, and then another primer that is specifically for controlling the oil. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the smoothing primers that I use, and I do have a mixture of high-end and some drugstore in both categories. So let's go ahead and get started with the drugstore for smoothing primers, since I actually only have one that I found works really, really well. And that is the Loreal Studio Secrets Professional Magic Perfecting Base. Now this primer is very similar to the Tarte Smoothing Primer that I'm going to show to you. It's also similar to like the POREfessional, and it kind of has like a very, almost like a thick, moussey type feel to it. You only need a very little bit of it, and this just does a really great job of smoothing and blurring out your pores and filling in any fine lines that you have on your face. And it's also a really affordable option if you don't want to spend the extra money on some of the higher end options. So wanted to go ahead and mention this. I've had this for forever, and it's definitely a great option from the drugstore. The next one that I want to mention to you guys is the first smoothing primer that I ever purchased, and I would definitely say is one of my holy grails for smoothing and blurring pores, and it is the Benefit POREfessional. Now this one has more of like a beige kind of color to it, and it also, pretty much all of these have like a thicker consistency, and then they kind of smooth out, you know, once you blend it out, it doesn't leave any type of color or like a residue or anything like that behind. But I really love this one also for just smoothing out my pores. It does a really great job of blurring and filling in my pores, and then my makeup also applies really nicely on top of this one as well. So I will try to list throughout the video the prices and all of that for you guys, but this one was the first one, the first high-end smoothing primer that I ever purchased, and it's still one of the ones that I really love. So the next primer that I purchased after that one was the Smashbox Photo Finish Foundation Primer, and this one is also another pore minimizing primer, and it's also oil free. This primer works really, really great if you have the Photo Finish Primer Water, which is another product that I'll talk about shortly. The 2 of those together work really well, and they just do a really great job of prepping your skin for makeup, smoothing, and just giving you a nice canvas to apply makeup on top of. So this is another great one that I really love for blurring and smoothing out my pores. So the next primer that I have is the Makeup Forever Step 1 Skin Equalizer, and this one is the smoothing primer. Now this was one that I purchased probably within the last 6 months. I do really love this primer, but I do find that I prefer the POREfessional and the Smashbox one to this one, because although it does an okay job of smoothing, I don't really find that it does as well of a job of actually filling in my pores so that when I apply my makeup on top, my pores are actually blurred in comparison to the POREfessional and the Smashbox one. So if I had to choose between the two, I would probably go with either the POREfessional or Smashbox. This one is pretty good if you don't have really large pores that you're trying to blur and smooth out. If you just have like some imperfections and some fine lines, this one will probably work pretty good for you. But since I do have very large pores, I find that the other two work better. But it's still a really great one that I wanted to mention for you guys in case you're interested. So the last smoothing primer that I have to share with you guys is a newer one. It came out like more recently and I just recently picked it up. And this one is the Tarte Clean Slate Timeless Smoothing Primer. So this one is very similar to the Loreal Magic Perfecting Base. The consistency of the two of these is pretty much exactly the same. It's got like a thick kind of moussey texture to it, and it just kind of when you apply it to your skin, it doesn't really like soak into your skin as much. It does blur out any fine lines and it blurs out any, you know, large pores that you have. But I find that these two sit on top of the skin a little bit more than the other ones that I just mentioned. They kind of like sink into the skin a little bit more. These kind of fill in the pores and fill in the fine lines, but it does kind of sit on the skin a little bit more. But these are essentially, in my opinion, very similar. I won't say that they're quite the same product, but they are very similar. So if you don't want to spend the money on the Tarte one, you could definitely pick up the L'Oreal Magic Perfecting Base. But this one is also a really great option if you are looking for like an all over just smoothing base to, you know, prep your skin for makeup. So next up, I want to talk about two other primers that are not necessarily for controlling oil, but I do want to mention them before I get into the oil controlling primers. So the first one I mentioned earlier is the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Water. Now, when I initially heard about this primer water, I thought that it was kind of gimmicky. I didn't think that it was really going to do anything. I just kind of assumed it was just another product to get us to spend our money, and I just didn't think it was really going to do anything for me. But I was very wrong. This is the third bottle of this that I have purchased, and I will continue to repurchase it because I do see that it does make a difference. So the way that I use this is before I apply any of my primers on clean skin, I will spray this all over my entire face. And what I've found is that this really does a great job of just prepping my skin for primers and for foundation and for all of the products that I'm going to place on top. It helps my foundation and the products on my skin to last longer. And you can also use this as a finishing spray as well, or to refresh your face throughout the day. So this has a lot of different uses and purposes, and I think it's worth every penny because it really does a great job of prepping my skin. And I find that if I don't use this, my foundation doesn't last as long, my oils are not controlled as long, and this just does a really great job of just prepping my skin. So had to mention this. And then the next product that I wanted to mention is another newer product, but I have mentioned it several times in my recent videos, and it is the Benefit the POREfessional Matte Rescue. Now this product is a product that I like to use on my skin before I apply the Photo Finish Primer Water. So just so that you guys know, like my typical process, after I have cleansed my skin, moisturized my skin, I'll go in with this, and then I'll go in with my primer water, and then I'll go in with a smoothing primer and then an oil control primer. And I know that that seems like a lot, but when you have really oily skin, you have to do what it takes if you want the oil to be controlled throughout the day. So that's my process. Of course, you guys can do what you feel like works best for you. But this is a product that I recently picked up, and this is like a gel consistency, and I really like this for just applying all over my skin before I apply any of my primers, because I find that this is another great face prep product. This one, what it claims to do is mattify, blur your pores, and it leaves an invisible finish. I do agree with all of those claims. However, I would not use this by itself without another pore filling primer, because I don't find that it fills in my pores and blurs as much as an actual product that is meant specifically for pore minimizing. But I do really like this product as another skin prep product, so I did want to go ahead and mention it to you. So the next set of primers that I want to talk to you guys about are the primers that I use specifically for controlling oil on my skin. So for this category, I have 2 drugstore options, and then I have 2 high-end options that I want to share with you. So the first one that I want to share is the number 7 Beautifully Matte Makeup Base. This is a product that you can find at Target. It is on the higher end of drugstore products as far as the price is concerned. This applies to your face very similar to a moisturizer. However, it does come out kind of thick. It's not like a runny type moisturizer. The consistency of it is a little bit thick, but I just kind of dot it on my cheeks, my forehead, and on my chin, which is pretty much how I apply all of these. And then I just rub it into my skin, and it, you know, rubs in just like a moisturizer. And you instantly can feel your face get matte with this product. So I have really been loving this. This is like an everyday product that I wear, you know, just when I'm doing like an everyday look. I love to use this because it's really light on the skin. So the next drugstore product that I want to share with you is the NYX Angel Veil, what is this called? Skin Perfecting Primer. Now this is a primer that I'm sure you guys have heard of before, and this is very similar to the Hourglass Mineral Veil Primer. I'm not exactly sure what the exact name of it is, but the Hourglass Mineral Veil Primer, this, a lot of people have said, is a dupe for that primer. The formula and the consistency of both of those are very similar, but of course this one is more than half the price. So definitely wanted to mention this. It's another one that does a really great job of controlling oil on my skin, and is a great option if you want to purchase a drugstore, more affordable option. So the last 2 primers that I want to share with you guys are high-end oil controlling primers. And these primers are heavy duty. So these are going to be for my girls who are very, very, very oily. Not combination, not any of the other stuff, very oily. And if you are combination, I would only recommend that you use these primers in the areas that you are oily, because these primers have actually, on some days when I'm not as oily as others, have actually made my skin almost dry. So I just want to go ahead and throw that out there. These primers, they're not playing any games when it comes to controlling oil. So yeah, just want to put that out there. So the first one that I want to mention is the Makeup Forever Step 1 Skin Equalizer in Mattifying. This is the mattifying primer. And then I also want to mention the Becca Ever Matte Poreless Priming Perfecting Base. Now these 2 primers essentially do the same thing. They are meant to mattify and control oil throughout the day. Now I will say that the Becca one is a little bit more heavy duty than the Makeup Forever one, but both of them are hands down, like if I need a primer that is going to help my makeup to last and control oil for 6-8+ hours, these are the primers that I'm going to go for, because they never fail me and they do a great job of controlling my oil throughout the day. So if I had to pick one between the 2 of these, I would go with the Becca one, because this one, I mean, it's just not playing any games when it comes to controlling oil. Like, this is beast mode when it comes to controlling oil. This one is too, but it's not as intense as the Becca one. But both of these, as I mentioned, if you are combination or if you're not super, super oily all over your entire face, I would only recommend applying these to your T-zone, to your cheeks, or to the areas where you are the most oily. Otherwise, you will find that these primers will start to make you look a little bit dry. Alright guys, so that is all that I have for you for today's video. My top 10 plus 1 favorite makeup primers for oily skin. This is a video, again, that you guys requested, so I hope that you found it helpful. Let me know down below if you have tried out any of these primers, if they work for you, or if you are really oily and you have a primer that I did not mention that works really well for you. Let me know down below in the comments as well, because I'm always looking for new primers to try out that will help keep this oil under control. Also, if you are dry or combination or normal skin and you have any primers that work well for you, leave those in the comments as well, because we may have, you know, combination or, you know, other skin types that are watching this video that may use these primers in certain areas of their face, but may need or prefer a different primer for other areas if they are combination skin. So if you have a primer that works well for your skin type and you are normal, dry, or combination, leave those down below as well, and we can just make sure everybody has a primer that they can choose from that can help keep their face looking flawless all day. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and I do have a Facebook page as well. So you can keep up with me on all of those social media sites and chat with me on those as well. Also, don't forget, if you are new to my channel, to go ahead and click that subscribe button on your way out. And again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you very soon in my next one. Bye, guys.